Welcome to the next episode of The Next Big Thing. My name is Ethan Lee Chalk, and today my guest is Jordan Buckingham. Jordan, how are you doing today?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me on as well.
Is it kind of different being back in Australia after the trip to England?
Yeah, definitely. It's probably nice to be home, but would have liked to have been there a little bit longer. But hopefully, the next few years I can get back there and play a fair bit more cricket. Hopefully,
I was just wondering if you could go on and speak about kind of your early life playing cricket for those that don't know.
yeah. So it was always cricket and footy for me until I got to sort of 17 or 18. I felt like to really excel at one, I had to pick one, and cricket was it. I was never going to go too far in footy, I don't think. So yeah, I was always junior cricket, junior footy, winter, summer sort of set up. Very grateful for my parents. They did a fair bit of driving around for me during them years. But yeah, I guess I always had an invested interest in sport, golf as well. Played a bit of basketball. So for me, yeah, early life was a lot around sport with one of my younger brothers as well, Zach, who he's only 16 months younger, so we get along really well and we compete in most sports. So I got pretty fiery there at a few points.
You just mentioned then you're interested, grew up playing a couple of sports, golf,
Yeah,
basketball, AFL.
yeah,
I saw that you're a Hawks fan. Is that correct?
yeah, it's very correct. Yeah, pretty happy with yesterday's big win. So
Was there ever a decision to go down that track of playing professionally instead of cricket, like AFL, golf, or basketball?
I was always just okay at the sports. I don't think I was ever going to go super far. AFL, if anything, potentially could have been an option if I had had a few big pre-seasons or whatnot. But it was, yeah, for me, it was cricket was a no-brainer. I was definitely better at cricket than I was at all the other sports. So, yeah, cricket was the one there.
You just mentioned your brother as well. Is he trying to play cricket professionally as well, or was that always kind of like the dream? I know maybe not happened, but like, has that always been a dream growing up? The two of you kind of like playing on the same team professionally one day.
Yeah, it would be awesome. He actually didn't play a lot of cricket past his junior age group, so he's actually a basketballer. So I actually love playing basketball with him and still get back. Like I'm going home next weekend, and I'll definitely go and shoot hoops with him at some point. But no, for him, he was never really cricket. He just played at an early age, but he was happy to play a fair bit of backyard cricket with me whenever I nagged him to. So that was yeah.
Talking about cricket and backyard cricket in particular, I saw that you're a right hand bowler, so right arm fast, but you're a
Yeah.
left hand batter. Is that
No, that's wrong. So
Oh, sorry,
Wikipedia's
sorry.
got that wrong. I'm actually a
Did I
right
get
hand batter.
it opposite? Sorry, left arm.
Right, both. So I seen that actually as well on it was on my Crick Info or something that says left hand batter. So
Yeah.
might have to inquire and get that one changed. So I'm definitely right hand batter, and I don't play the reverse sweep or the switch hit. So I'm not sure where they've got that from.
You haven't tried with the left hand?
Nah, I probably should do because I can't really hit it that fast. I should probably try and start to invent things there.
So being a right arm fastball, can you like if you were injured, let's say in a game, could you
Yep.
attempt to bowl with your left hand? Like, have you ever tried to do that before?
Nah, I don't think I don't reckon I could. Nah, I've definitely I do work on throwing with my left arm a little bit. Just in case there's a little situation where the right arm's out of it or we turn on the left side and try and get a quick run out or something. But no, I definitely couldn't bowl with my left arm, I don't reckon. I know there's a guy in Tasmania who can, but no, I can't do it.
Looking back at the start of this year, in April in particular, called up to the Australian A squad. What did that mean personally to you?
Yeah, massive. It's probably one of my biggest achievements to date. Obviously, didn't really expect it too much. I sort of missed the last few Sheffield Shield games for South Australia. I did know I was on the radar. They made a call a bit earlier, but to get the call just after our semi-final loss, actually, yeah, softened the blow a little bit for me. So yeah, I was pretty pumped to get the call up, and then to go right as well was added on top of that.
And then during the game, 6 for 58, the entire New Zealand top six. Was that like the best start you could have wished for?
Yeah, I mean, you don't really go into a game expecting to get 6 wickets every game, and especially on your Australia A debut. So to get that was yeah, one of my bigger highlights to date, and yeah, I was bloody pumped to get a few wickets there.
I know Ashes coming out. I know that you unfortunately not in the Ashes squad. But what does it mean when a cricket legend like Kerry O'Keefe calls you like a bolster for a squad? What does that mean to you? Is that like a boost in your confidence?
Yeah, I love Kerry. He's a great man. I Yeah, no, I did see that actually. It's really nice to hear that. But I've sort of got a little mantra where I don't look too much into the outside noise and just let hopefully my cricketing do the talk, and yeah, and as I said, just sort of stay level and stay pretty grounded, and whatever happens, happens. And I'm sure if the right things will happen and take care of themselves eventually. So
It's extremely hard, not just for you, but all professional athletes. Looking, the media, looking into reports,
yeah,
rumors, what people say. You just said you don't
yeah.
look into it. Do you? Has there ever been a point in time where you've looked into it at all, or not at all?
No, I don't think so. I think sometimes you don't have a choice, and you see the odd comment on a social media post or a Twitter post or whatever it is. But yeah, for me, it's if they're taking the time out of their day to sort of troll me, I think they're also the first ones when you do well to be on your back and say how good's this and well done. So in terms of that, yeah, I don't look too far into it there, and try and turn the comments off on a few posts, especially if I haven't done so well or if I've done really well. It's sort of the
Yeah.
positives and the negatives you don't want to read because you get them both. So yeah, you sort of try and stay away from the outside noise and just worry about what you're doing.
It's so hard with athletes, especially with the era of the rise of social media now. Pretty much anyone can message you anything at any point in time.
Yeah,
It must be hard with
absolutely. Yeah,
that.
yeah, definitely. I think yeah, as I said, you sort of got to filter that out and not get stuck at looking at all the positive comments as well, because then um you can probably get a little bit further ahead of yourself than you need to be. So yeah, for me, it's to sort of stay away from both aspects there, and yeah, as I said, focus at the job at hand and the task. So
Playing for the Redbacks at the moment. I know you're born in Victoria. What was kind of the main decision to move down there?
opportunity, I guess. I think the Vics didn't really offer anything. I think they may have come to the party when they found out I was leaving, but it's such a short flight away. I got a 2-year deal, so had a little bit of security there. Um, and yeah, there was a little bit more opportunity at the time. Now we've got a good young core group and good mixture of senior players as well. So I think we're really heading in the right direction. So yeah, perfect, and really happy I made that decision.
Did you ever imagine you'd be playing professionally when you were younger?
I imagined it every day. I didn't know if it had ever come true, but yeah, absolutely, it was always a dream of mine. I think if you ask my mum, I used to run around the house in my cricket gear, play indoor cricket, backyard cricket, drag dad to the nets 5 o'clock every night. So yeah, yeah, it was definitely a massive goal and dream of mine. That first class debut was yeah, it was something to savour.
Was the goal when you're growing up, is the baggy green the end goal for you?
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. To get a sniff of wearing an that Aussie A game was really nice. So to get a real one day would be awesome.
If the Vix did come back, I know you're 2-year contract now. I think you just recently signed
Yeah, just
with
signed a
the
3 deal.
Redbacks.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah,
is it hard, moving away from the town, that you grew up in, moving to a different state, not knowing as many people? Would you ever,
yeah, definitely.
in the future, I know a lot of players, move from different states to states. Would you ever consider going back to Victoria, down the track?
Um, you never know what happens down the track, but like right now, I'm pretty committed to South Australia, and Adelaide. I love Adelaide as a place, not only in terms of cricket and what it's got to offer. So, yeah, right now, pretty set and pretty settled here, and got live a nice life down here. Live down near the beach, which is a beautiful part of the world. So yeah, no complaints here, and I'm yeah, bloody happy here.
Nothing better than living near the beach. I can attest to
Yeah, it's nice.
that.
Yes.
Um, just on Adelaide. When you so obviously training and playing cricket. But what do you do outside of that? Are you doing anything in your spare time? Like what are you
Yeah,
focused
so
on?
I was looking to start studying this year. I was looking to start my teaching course up again. I began it when I first got here, but had to defer because cricket got a little bit hectic there at one point. But I'm also a qualified groundsman.
Oh,
So I
nice.
did an apprenticeship straight out of school, and just finished the qualification when I got over here. So that's also another option. Play a fair bit of golf as well. So yeah, I'll definitely try and keep busy in the off season or the down periods for sure.
I know golfing is a lovely pastime of all the players. Do you compete with any of the boys?
No, I'm okay. I wouldn't say there's a lot of good golfers around. I think I can hold my own, but yeah, there's certainly a lot of better golfers around. It's a bloody frustrating sport at times, I'll tell you that much.
I know a lot of I think Gareth Bale he retired from soccer, now playing professional golf. It's
Yeah,
it's a sport that people from any ages, even if you when
yeah,
you retire from cricket 30 years, 20 years down the track,
yeah,
you can still take up
yeah,
golf when you're 50 or 60 years
yeah.
old.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. I think it's as I said, it's a frustrating sport, and I let it get to me sometimes. But yeah, it'd be nice to keep playing as much golf as possible, especially post cricket.
How different was the experience over in England for Northamptonshire, sorry. And when did you kind of receive the call that you'd be going over there?
My manager got in contact with me. There was a few sort of counties knocking after the Aussie A game, and then they all, I think, wanted a 6 game deal, which I wasn't too keen on with how the body was feeling. Just post a pretty big season, so Northamptonshire come with a 3 year deal, 3 game deal, sorry. Um, and that was perfect because I guess it's a chance to go over there, get a feel for the conditions, have a little bit of exposure and whatnot, but not go too hard on the body because obviously 3 back-to-back 4 day games. Yeah, it was as a fast bowler is always tough work. But yeah, when they called us, yeah, perfect opportunity.
How different were those conditions, especially like, fast bowler, different pitches, you had a bolt, like, bowl, different speed, like, the way the cracks in the
Yeah,
pitch. How different was it?
yeah, yeah, certainly different conditions. Not only the slower wickets, I think the smaller grounds you're not used to. There's a lot of times where I was getting hit for boundaries where over here that wouldn't happen.
Yep.
But over there, they're such small and fast grounds, and they run downhill as well. So I think it definitely took a bit of adjusting to get to. And I think realistically, if I was up to it and played the 6 games, it would have finished off a lot better than what I started because I think you needed 1 or 2 games there to just get used to the conditions and the length of bowl and the variety and everything like that. So yeah.
I know, I think the T20 Blast, Vitality T20 Blast is going over in England.
Mm-hmm.
Were there any calls to stay over there and compete in the T20 tournament for them?
No, not as such. So Northamptonshire have Lynn and Ty as their overseas players, so they're obviously two world class 2020 players, not just
Okay.
first class. But if the option come up, I potentially might have because obviously only 4 overs is a lot different to a 4 day game. I might have taken it, but yeah, next time definitely I will.
What do you kind of credit your success towards?
I had a couple of good mentors when I was younger. I had a couple of guys who backed me in when because I didn't make any state underage teams or anything like that until top age under 19. So I had a lot of guys back me in when I didn't have a lot of credentials. But all in all, I think a lot of people will say this, and it's probably my mum and dad. I think the amount of travel they did, the amount of late night net sessions, the amount of gear they bought me, just yeah, it's amazing the work they do and the amount of appreciation I have for them now, and I still tell them. But yeah, definitely my 2 parents.
You said they're your mentors. Looking from a player's perspective, like, who did you kind of grow up from the cricketing world kind of idolizing in a sense?
Dale Steyn, South African fast bowler. He was probably the one I watched and the one I loved. Obviously loved all the Australian fast bowlers. I love Mitch Johnson. He's a left arm bowler, so slightly different, but love the way he went about it. Especially that Ashes series where he tore England apart over here. But yeah, Dale Steyn was one I always watched and idolised, and loved the way he go about it. And I like to think I have a similar competitive edge on the field as what he did. So
Have you ever met Dale before?
I haven't. Would have loved to have.
Would that kind of be the dream? I know, like, how there's different charity games, like, where you see some of the former players into, like, play with current day players. Would that be
Yeah,
the
yeah,
dream, like, to walk alongside Dale Steyn, like, walking out onto the pitch and bowling from
yeah,
one end and him on the other end?
yeah. That'd be very nice. Hopefully that opportunity comes up one day.
Still quite young, 23, correct?
Yeah.
Is there any players that you play with now, whether it be like, Australia A, Northamptonshire, or South
Mm,
Australia, that you kind of grew up
yeah.
watching? And is it kind of like a weird fact that you're playing alongside them?
Yeah, I reckon. Oh, obviously you grow up. We've got a pretty relatively young squad at South Australia. In terms of Australia, yeah, I grew up. Obviously the older heads like your Matt Renshaw, for example. Obviously he's a batter, but he's someone who played a lot of Test cricket when I was coming through the ranks and a lot younger. So to walk on the same field as him, yeah, it was definitely a pinch yourself sort of moment. And then obviously like Wes Agar as well. He's only a couple of years older than me, but he burst onto the scene at a pretty young age. So you always yeah, as a young fella, you follow first class cricket pretty highly, and you want to be what them guys are. So to be playing alongside them now is awesome.
How far are you kind of looking ahead into the future? What is kind of like the next goal you're hoping to achieve, kind of? in the near future? And then also, you also said like, long term is the baggy green, but well,
Yeah.
what's the short term goal?
Probably winning games for South Australia, I reckon. Cementing my spot in that side. Obviously, we've got a good lineup now to try and cement that spot down, and then to win shields and to win finals will be, yeah, will definitely be the ultimate goal. I think as a sportsman, nothing better than when your team's winning and when your team's doing really well. I look at West Australia at the moment and how they just absolutely dominated cricket for the last 3 or 4 years in Australia and probably longer, to be fair. So to be a part of something like that, a coach like that, is definitely a short term goal and something that, yeah, you definitely want to achieve.
Just a couple more questions. There's always
Yeah,
a big decision, especially now with the T20 world, like a lot of leagues
yeah,
coming through. Would you
yeah,
if you would you rather, I know players like some there's players that focus on test cricket, players
yeah.
that only focus on T20 cricket. What would you decide to stick with?
No, definitely Test cricket. Definitely red ball cricket is. I think personally, it's my strength as well as. It was always a goal of mine. Obviously, T20 cricket's fun to play, and I get there's a lot of good money involved and whatnot. But in terms of the end goal, yeah, 4-day cricket would always take priority for me, and hopefully there's an option where I can play both. But if not, yeah, definitely long term cricket.
I read that you're contracted with the Adelaide Strikers for I think a Big Bash tournament. I think it was either the
Last
last
season, yeah,
one last season.
yeah, yeah,
Would you be open, like to doing that again? Whether even if you're not playing, like being around the squad and being
yeah,
around players and just learning off them.
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. I think that was in terms of enhancing my white ball skills, that was a very important sort of season that I was involved in, around some pretty senior heads like Peter Siddle and co. So yeah, definitely hopefully I can line up a big bash deal for this season coming and for the next couple. Yeah, definitely.
Just just sorry, just a couple more.
Yeah, okay.
you've experienced the whole England, like county cricket
Yeah,
aura. Do you think more Aussies? We saw like Steve Smith go over there before the Ashes. Peter
yeah,
Siddle's back over there now, been there for a couple of years. Do you think
yeah,
it's a good test for a lot of the Aussie domestic cricketers to go over and try that avenue?
yeah. I think if the option's there, I think they've got some strict rules now where you have to play a certain amount of first class cricket over here to go over there and all play for Australia and whatnot. But yeah, in terms of that, I think it's a great opportunity. It's different conditions, and for someone like Steve Smith with an upcoming Ashes tour, it's an absolute no brainer. I reckon it's a matter of whether they'll keep letting us come over there to play.
Yeah.
Um, but if they do, yeah, absolutely. I think everyone should, yeah, should at least do it once.
What advice would you give to the younger generation of female male cricketers hoping, like, to play professionally one day and hopefully, like, reach the big level, play for their domestic country, domestic state, play
Yeah.
overseas? What advice would you give them?
Probably just never lose that competitive edge. I think there's obviously that old quote where hard work beats talent when talent fails to work hard. So I guess yeah, sometimes you're not the most talented, you're not the best player in the side, but if you keep remaining eager to win and eager to learn and to get better, always with a smile on your face. I know my dad before every game says to me, "Enjoy yourself, not good luck," or because he knows that all that's taken care of. It's more about just keep smiling. When you stop smiling and stop enjoying it, it's time to do something else. So for me, it's always have that competitive and hard nosed edge on the ground, but find that time to soak it all in and smile and really enjoy it. So yeah, it's probably the two.
Thank you so much for coming on and being a guest, Jordan. Much appreciated. And I wish you all the best, not just in the near future, but also down the line.
No, awesome. Thanks very much for having me.